Have you ever sat in a crowded room, maybe a loud party, a tense corporate meeting, or even a family gathering, and suddenly felt completely invisible? Not the invisibility of being forgotten, but a profound, almost transparent separation. You hear the laughter, but you analyze the motive behind it. You see the enthusiastic nods, but you recognize the absence of critical thought. You observe the social rituals, the empty compliments, the debates about trivialities, and you realize with a painful clarity that it is all just a performance. You are there, but at the same time you are far away in a quiet observational space. And in that moment, a deep sense of loneliness envelops you. Not the loneliness of lacking company, but the loneliness of clarity. The loneliness of being the only one who seems to be awake in a sleepwalking world. If you have ever felt this, I want you to take a deep breath, because the first thing you need to understand is you are not broken. You are not arrogant. You are not sociopathic. You are simply waking up. What you are experiencing is not a character flaw. It is the inevitable fatigue of a consciousness that has outgrown the collective unconscious. You have begun to see through, to see past the veils, the conventions, the roles that society demands everyone play. And once you have seen, you cannot unsee. Human society, for the most part, operates like a grand play. There are pre-written scripts for us. The script of success must have a house, a car status. The script of love must be romantic in a specific mold. The script of happiness must consume, must experience. People are dedicating their entire lives to playing these parts well, hoping for applause from an audience that is also busy playing its own part. Most people are so immersed in their roles that they believe the role times is times them. They times are times the doctor, the engineer, the mother, the passionate fan. They forget that there is a deeper something playing that role. And then one day, for some reason, perhaps a crisis, a loss, a moment of deep silence, your curtain is pulled back. You wake up right on stage. You're still in costume, still holding your props, but you suddenly realize, oh, this is a play. And I am acting. This is where the exhaustion begins. Your exhaustion, my friend, doesn't come from your job. It doesn't come from your relationships. It comes from the friction. It is the intense friction between your awakened consciousness and a world that is still fast asleep. It comes from having to constantly pretend that you are also asleep just to survive, just to not disturb others. You have to wear a double mask. The first mask is your social role. The second mask, and the most tiring one, is the mask that hides the fact that you times know times you are wearing a mask. You go to the party and smile at the right moments. You nod at the small talk that you find completely meaningless. You participate in debates about politics or sports, knowing full well that both sides are caught in a game of ego. Your energy isn't drained by the interaction itself. It is drained by its inauthenticity. You are forced to operate on two operating systems at once. A surface OS to communicate with the world, and a background OS that is constantly analyzing and observing the absurdity of it all. This division burns your psychic energy faster than anything else. This fatigue is not just physical. It is a soul-level erosion. Because when you see through the play, you realize you are craving something the play cannot offer. A genuine connection. You long to talk to someone without a script. You want to ask, hey, do you see the strangeness of all this? You want to discuss consciousness, the nature of reality, the fear and love that lie beneath every human action. But when you try, what do you run into? Confusion, defensiveness, or worse, ridicule. You are like a person trying to describe color to a world that only sees grayscale. They cannot understand what you are talking about. They talk about success as a measurable destination. You see success as an internal state of peace. They talk about love as possession and control. You see love as liberation and unconditional acceptance. They worry about what happened yesterday and what will happen tomorrow. You are trying to hold on to this precious present moment. Your language has changed. Your frequency has changed. You can no longer participate in that conversation fully. And that's when the loneliness hits. You realize that waking up means you must give up the comfort of fitting in. You no longer belong to the crowd. You are an observer, a conscious outsider. And this leads us to the biggest, most subtle trap on this path, the temptation to become the savior. When you see all of this, when you see people making themselves miserable, trapped in meaningless loops, driven by unconscious fears, what is your first instinct? It's to scream. It's to try and shake them awake. Wake up, don't you see? It's all a game. You are wasting your lives. You want to rescue them from their matrix. You want to show them the path to the truth you have seen. You believe that if they could only see what you see, we could all be happy and free together. But this, my friend, is an act of subtle arrogance. It is a trap of the ego dressed in the cloak of compassion. You must understand this deep and somewhat difficult truth. You cannot wake up a person who is pretending to be asleep. And certainly times cannot wake up a person who believes they times are times the dream. Your attempt to save others not only exhausts you, but it is also a form of violating their free will. Every soul has its own path, its own timeline for awakening. Some people need times to play their role to the very end. Times need times to experience the ultimate suffering of separation before they are ready to ask the question. Their dream is as sacred as your awakening. They have the right to be asleep. When you try to force awakeness upon others, what happens? They don't see you as a liberator. They see you as a threat. You are attacking the foundation of their reality, the very concept of self they have worked so hard to build. And they will fight to protect it. They will call you crazy, negative, or eccentric. And so you are not only exhausted from the friction of pretending, but you are also exhausted from the futile battle you started yourself. You are trying to pull people off a sinking ship that they believe is a luxury yacht. They will pull you down with them. This is where the paradox of the solution appears. If you are tired, if you feel lonely, the solution is not to try to change the world. The solution is not to shout louder. The solution is not to find more allies. The solution is to allow yourself to withdraw. I'm not talking about a physical withdrawal. You don't need to move to a cave in the mountains, although that might sound appealing. I'm talking about a psychological withdrawal, a strategic disappearance. This is the art of intentional non-intervention. It is the wisdom of knowing when to be silent. It is learning to be present in times that play, even playing a small part occasionally, without being lost in its plot. Think of yourself as a master actor who has realized they are on stage. You can continue to speak your lines, but inside you are completely free. You say the lines with a secret smile, an understanding that it's all just a game. You are no longer seeking validation from the audience or the other actors. Your goal is no longer to win the play. Your goal is to protect your own flame of consciousness. This requires a crucial skill, discernment. Discernment is the ability to see what is real and what is drama, what is worthy of your energy, and what is just the noise of the matrix. You must become incredibly stingy with your most precious asset, your attention. A political argument breaks out. Your old consciousness would want to jump in to prove your point, to fix the other person's ignorance. But your awakened consciousness, the one using discernment, will ask, is this conversation feeding consciousness, or it is just feeding egos? 99% of the time, the answer is the latter. So you withdraw, you smile, you listen politely, and you keep your energy for yourself. You don't argue, you don't try to convince. You simply do not engage in that energy game. They may think you are apathetic or you don't understand. Let them think that. Their approval is no longer your currency. Inner peace is your currency. You will realize that the hourly news, the latest trends, the newest scandals are actually just storms in a teacup. They are designed to capture your attention, to keep you entangled in the drama, to make you react unconsciously. Discernment allows you to stand on the edge of the storm and observe it without getting wet. And here is the magic that will happen when you begin to practice this withdrawal and discernment. First, your exhaustion begins to dissolve. The energy that you once wasted on friction and conflict now accumulates within you. You become a still lake instead of a raging river trying to change its course. Second, your loneliness changes its nature. It is no longer the pain of isolation. It transforms into powerful solitude. You begin to enjoy your own company because when you are alone, you are the only one not performing. You get to be completely yourself. You become your own safe harbor. And third, the most wonderful paradox will occur. When you stop trying to change others, you begin to influence them in the most profound way. People are not changed by arguments. They are changed by energy. When you sit in that room, no longer trying to intervene, no longer judging, no longer desperately seeking connection, but simply times being, times present in your awakened peace, you become a different frequency. You become a lighthouse. Others in the room, those who are also tired of their own roles, will feel your peace. They may not understand it with their minds, but their souls will be drawn to it. They will see that there is another way to exist. You don't need to say a word. Your presence times is times the message. This is the path of the silent sage, not the loud revolutionary who wants to tear down the stage, but the calm observer who has found freedom right in the middle of the theater. So if you are one of these sensitive, awakened souls, if you are tired of seeing through it all, stop fighting. Allow yourself to be tired. Allow yourself to be silent. Allow yourself to withdraw into your inner wisdom. Do not try to repair the curtain you have seen through. Do not waste energy trying to convince the other actors that they are acting. Instead, tend to your own flame of consciousness. Protect it. Nurture it. Let it shine brightly in your stillness. The world doesn't need you to fix it. It just needs you to times be, times your truth. And in doing so, you provide the light for others who are ready to find their own way out of the play's darkness. To find you. Your loneliness is not a curse. It is a protection. It is the necessary cocoon for your deepest transformation to take place. Stay in it. Trust the process. Your awakening is not your burden. It is your greatest gift to the world, even if the world isn't ready to receive it yet. If these reflections resonate with that deep space inside you, if they touch upon a truth you've always known but couldn't put into words, leave a like so I know we share the same frequency. And don't forget to subscribe so we can continue this journey into consciousness together.